Nona Peltier, seated beside me with something on your wrist. Are you right there, Nona?
Yeah, a little fracture.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, well, soldiering on. Thank you,
As
Nona.
you do.
Let's talk business. The administrators of the beleaguered insurance company CBL Corporation adjourned a creditors meeting this afternoon after it became apparent there would be a voting stalemate. What's all this about?
You know, CBL Corporation is that insurance company that we've been talking about for a while.
Yeah.
And it's pretty difficult story to tell. For one thing, a lot of what's going on is happening behind closed doors. The whole thing about disclosure has really, the rules have been convoluted, to say the least. In fact, just yesterday, the Financial Markets Authority said they're going to ask the courts to rule on how does continuous disclosure rules fit in with companies that are in voluntary administration, because we really don't know very much. And today we found out from the administrators that there was a meeting of creditors, a watershed meeting, but they had to adjourn it because even though 75% of the creditors by value would have supported a vote to put the company, this is the group, into liquidation, 50% of the actual number wouldn't agree. And so yes, exactly. And then they say, well, and that's related parties. But you never know enough to really tell a proper story. So in telling it, we've got to be very careful.
Yeah.
And we know that it doesn't involve all of the companies. This particular action only involves the corporation itself. Anyway, the meeting's been adjourned until July 2nd or sooner, depending. And I guess we're going to, well, we won't know, but we can assume, I think, that there'll be a lot of negotiations behind the scene because there was another resolution to put the company back into the hands of the directors. We don't know what's going to happen with this, but believe me, we're going to continue to cover it the best way we can.
Thank you, Nona. And it's good that the FMA is seeking some clarity around what happens in this situation.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Large American investment fund, Blackstone, spending $635 million to buy prime commercial real estate in Auckland.
There's a bunch of buildings, I think 7 of them, in fact. They call them low-rise office buildings, but they're quite fancy. One of them is occupied by Fonterra, and the other one by Air New Zealand. There's a number of them in the group.
So both Fonterra and Air New Zealand are down by the viaduct,
aren't they?
And then Wynyard Quarter.
Yeah, the Wynyard Quarter, right on Fanshawe Street.
Yeah.
They're beautiful buildings,
Yeah, they are.
and I've had the opportunity to be inside both of them, and they are lovely facilities. Those buildings were not for sale. But there are so many global investors looking for opportunities to invest in New Zealand premium property. That is premium property. We're talking about properties that are worth more than $100 million, not under $100 million. And but there's hardly anything on the market. So this particular organization, which is a big fund manager, Blackstone, just came knocking on Goodman's door and said, would you sell? Now, Goodman owns 51% of this company, of these buildings, with its partner, the Singapore government. In fact,
Holy moly.
Yeah. So anyway, look, these buildings have been owned by them for maybe, I don't know, a few years. But anyways, twice what they invested in initially. So big profit there for Goodman. And believe me, there's a lot of other people in the market looking too.
Extraordinary story, that. More jobs at Auckland Airport. Tell us about that, Nona.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting. So Auckland Airport say that there's going to be 370 jobs up for grabs in the food and beverage area of their new updated airport. They've introduced 21 new outlets. This is restaurants and bars and so on into the airport. They're going to need a lot of staff. They're going to need not just serving staff, but managers and so forth. Yeah, 370. And this is starting to roll out from June. So there's going to be 21 new outlets and 6 of them are being redeveloped. So it's going to be pretty fancy. It's going to be a destination for more than just travel, I guess.
300 and how many jobs?
370, which is mostly for, I guess,
you
know, people in South Auckland will have an opportunity to apply close to home and so on.
Absolutely. What happened on the markets to end the week?
Okay, so, well, our index rose 0.6%, which is a pretty good rise. 54 points up to 8,657. Our dollar is steady at 68.8 US cents, 91.6 Australian, and 51 pence.
Nona Peltier, thank you very much indeed, and have a great weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you.